chapter 3. So, tinawag ni John yung mga early Christians, no, na little children, meaning na they have this special and deeper relationship with God. Hindi lang binigay ang pangalan, no, sa kanila, sa atin actually, pero binigay ng Diyos ang pagmamahal, at nabanggit ko nga yung mga apat pa na mga privileges natin, ano, pagmamahal, eternal life, yung divine nature, no, ibinibigay sa atin. And John was telling the Christians before, no, that love not in word or speech but in deed and truth. So it's not only the early Christians, no, sa atin din ngayon sinasabi ni Saint John, ano, but kailangan may action yung ating mga pagsalita, no? Kasi hindi natin pwedeng sabihin, uy, kawawa naman sila, wala silang makain, pero wala naman tayong inaabot, no? Wala naman tayong binibigay na pagkain o pambili o tulong, no? So kailangan yung word natin, o kawawa, napansin natin, ano, naawa tayo, kailangan may action din na nakasunod. Ito yung equivalent actually na sinabi ni Saint James, no, na faith without works is dead. No? So it's not enough to confess that Jesus is Lord with our mouth, no? Na mahal ko si Jesus, nagpa-praise and worship tayo, no? I love the Lord, ganyan, at lumalabas sa bibig natin, pero wala naman tayong action, wala tayong gawa, no? So hindi 'yan ang way ng isang Christian love, no? Hindi 'yan ang isang Kristiyano na puro lip service lang na wala namang gawa. 'Yon. Maaring simba ka ng simba pero hindi ka naman nagtutulong sa kapwa, no? So hindi ganoon ang Kristiyano, 'yon, no? So faith without works is dead, sabi ni Saint James, no? Yan. So not only to speak in truth, no, but to act in truth and to live by the truth. We have to walk in love. Pwede, yes, magsalita ka, no? Or i-console mo by your words. Nagugutom ka na ba? Ganyan. Tapos, nagugutom ka na ba? Tapos, wala ka namang iaabot, di ba? Tinanong mo pa. So, kung nagugutom ka na ba? O, kailan ka ba huling kumain? Ganyan. So, you have to speak in truth and then act in truth and then to live by the truth. No? You have to have action also. Yan. And there should also be love. No? Love that is coming from Christ. No? Yan. So, sometimes ginagawa mo, alang-alang na lang sa Panginoon. No? Ibigay mo na lang kung ano yung meron ka para may makain yung iba. So that is to walk in love. So we usually think of love as an emotional thing, no? So parang sa atin kasi love, no, parang inaano sa boyfriend, girlfriend, sa asawa, ganyan, or sa parents, ganyan, or love, no? Minsan nga pati bagay, no, I love chocolates, inaano natin, no, parang something with delight, no, na kinalulugod natin or kinatutuwan natin, no. But John is here, no, is speaking of a love that has action. Si John actually is referring to agape love, no, yung self-sacrificial love. Sabi natin, agape love is a kind of love that you are seeking what is best for the other person, no. Hindi mo na inaalintana yung kagustuhan mo o yung makakabuti sa'yo, at yung makakabuti doon sa ibang tao. Sabi nga, parang medyo mahirap, ano, pero posible din, no? Kasi sabi nga ni Mother Teresa, no, we cannot all do great things, no? But we can do small things with great love, no? Minsan yung great things para lang yun sa mga bayani o para sa mga santo, no? Ganyan, sa mga nasa posisyon, they can do great things, no? But so hindi lahat can do great things, but tayong mga maliliit, ano, we can do small things, no, but with great love. Yan. So yung pagbibigay ng limos sa pulubi, no, na may awa at concern, that is na with concern, ano, is doing something with great love, no. Lalo na kung kakainin mo pa yun, ibibigay mo na lang sa kanya, no? Hindi na kailangan actually na mag-organize ka pa ng weekly feeding program na may media coverage, no? Or kumbaga kailangan ng malaki-laking pera, no? But we can do small things, no, with great love. No? So the way we love God is to keep His commandments, no? We normally think yung mga 10 commandments as rules for life to make it right with God. Yeah. So to love God, ano, we have to follow the commandments, no? Actually, ang tingin natin kasi minsan sa sa Ten Commandments parang rules, no, na para wag magkagulo ang buhay ng tao, no? Wag mangangalunya, wag magnanakaw, wag papatay, no? So it is true, no, na yung commandments, no, na yan, rule na inaayos ang buhay natin. But the commandments are also rooted in love. Yun. Kasi yung first 3 commandments, no, is love for God. Okay? Thou shall not have other gods before me. Remember, do not blaspheme God, no? And keep the Sabbath day holy. Yeah, that is our love for God. No, we show God that we love Him if we do not worship other gods, if we do not speak, if we have reverence for His name, no. Yeah, and if we try to worship every Sunday, no, yun sa kanyang Sabbath day, no, sa holy day of obligation. So, and the rest are love for neighbor. So, the 10 commandments are actually the rooted in love, no. It is kumbaga ang pinaka nun is to live in love, yung 10 commandments. But John is saying that following the 10 commandments is not enough. So hindi porket sumusunod tayo sa 10 commandments okay na tayo. Dapat tayo rin ay sensitibo sa pangangailangan ng ating kapwa. So hindi sapat na hindi ka nagkakasala pero hindi ka tumutulong sa kapwa. So yun ang sinasabi ni St. John, dapat may agape love yan. For example, no, let's say yung pandemic, no, kung lahat tayo sumusunod sa protocol, no, lahat tayo nagpe-face mask, hindi lumalabas basta-basta sa bahay, tapos we are observing social distancing, no. So tama, we are doing everything. Pero alam nating maraming walang trabaho, no, at walang makain, walang source ng So kung tayo ay hindi magko-community pantry, walang mga ayudang ibibigay sa kapwa natin, paano kaya mangyayari sa atin, no? So it's not enough that we are following protocol or yung mga government protocol na tama rin yun, pero hindi yun sapat, no? Dapat tayo ay nagtutulong, no? We are sensitive to the needs of others. In the Gospel of John, John chapter 13, verse 34 to 35, Jesus gives a new commandment to love one another as He has loved us. Sa first letter of John, chapter 3, verse 23, mahalin ang kapwa katulad ng pag-command niya sa atin, no? Sabi ni St. John. Paano ba ni Jesus tayo kinommand? So, si St. John is referring actually doon sa gospel niya na sinulat sa chapter 13, verse 34 to 35. Nung sinabi ni Jesus na a new commandment, no? This is a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you. No, nag-level up na naman yung love na sinasabi ni Jesus Christ. Noon sabi, love your neighbor. At sino yung neighbor? Countryman. Tapos sinabi, love one another as you love yourself, kapareho ng sarili mo. No, kung paano mahalin sarili mo, ganun mo rin mahalin ang kapwa mo. Love your enemies, love your those who persecute. Ngayon, lalo pang tumaas, sabi ni Jesus, love one another as I have loved you. And paano ba ni Jesus tayo minahal, no? He gave up His life for us. So, mas nag-level up pa ngayon. Ito yung new commandment, no, na ibinibigay sa atin ngayon, Kasi it is one thing to love your neighbor as yourself, no? Nasa Leviticus 'yon. Pero yung to love, it is another thing to love your neighbor as Christ loves you. So, merong ibang standard na, no? May bagong standard na ibinigay sa atin at medyo mahirap-hirap itong bagong standard na to kasi ang model natin dito is si Jesus Christ. Kung paano tayo minahal ng Panginoong Hesus, ganun din natin dapat mahalin ang kapwa natin. So talagang mas level up na self-sacrificial love, no? Yung sacrificing oneself for the good of the other, just as Christ has sacrificed for us. So hindi lang enough na love God and neighbor, katulad doon sa pagsunod sa 10 commandments, no? John is not just calling us to not to steal, don't harm your neighbor, wag kang mangalunya, hindi lang ganun ang sinasabi, no? But John is calling us to sacrifice, no? As for a sacrificial love for our neighbor, which is kapareho ng ginawa ni Jesus Christ, no? That which means to lay down our lives, lay down our will for the sake of another. Iba pa palang klaseng love ang inihingi sa atin ng Panginoon. So the early Christians were practicing agape love. That is why they can persuade pagans by with the truth about Jesus Christ. Nagmamahalan at nagbibigayan na mas iniisip ang kapwa kaysa sa sarili. Mas nakikita sa pamumuhay nila. Ibang-iba doon sa makamundo na na makasarili. Kung papansinin natin ngayon, hindi natin siguro meron din iba na makikitaan pero hindi na masyadong visible yung ganitong klase ng agape love sa mga Christians, no? Sa 1 John chapter 3:24, sabi daw, all who keep his commandments abide in him and he in us. So we know that if we keep the commandments, we are in the state of grace. Now, so alam na natin yon that if we keep the commandments, baseline na yan, no? At least wala tayong mortal sin, if we are following the 10 commandments. So we are in the state of grace. Yung word na ginamit dito is abide, meaning in Greek, meno. In English, it means remain in him, no? And yung word na meno is also used in the Gospel of John, chapter 6, verse 56. Sabi doon, whoever eats my flesh, sabi ni Jesus Christ, no? And drinks my blood, remains in me and I in him. So yun pala yung parang second meaning doon, no? That to abide is to remain in Jesus by following the commandments and by eating the body and blood of Jesus Christ in the Eucharist.